Hi everybody, this is Mondays with Mike, a weekly video series where I answer questions from people just like you. Here's this week's question. So, I very seldom see these questions before I answer them, just so you know. Here it is. We're all going to answer this question. Is the meaning of life the same for animals and humans? Ha ha ha, just messing with you. Well, at least they're getting it now. At least they get the show, right? They can send in these kinds of questions. They know I'll probably read them. Is the meaning of life the same for animals and humans? No, I would say the meaning of life is more significant for animals because they're largely smarter. Oh, wow. But while we're on the subject of meaning of life, do you think life has meaning, or do each of us have to determine the meaning of our own lives? What is up with the questions, you guys? Is the meaning of, so you're just softening me up, right? Whoever sent this question, you're just the human animal thing. They were just firing us up, right? All right, this is another, all three of us are going to answer this question. So guys, while we're on the subject of meaning, do you think life has meaning? So I guess they're asking, right? Does life have meaning intrinsically? Like just by virtue of the fact that you're alive? Do we have meaning? Or do each of us have to determine the meaning of our own lives?
For me, it's something that I struggle with a lot. I think it's a personal meaning per individual. I think
that we have to develop
you've got to define what your purpose and goal is going to be with your existence, you know?
Yeah. What do you think?
I think the two are kind of interconnected in a way. I think you need the latter before you can have the former.
Oh, that's interesting. You need the latter, so you need to determine meaning of your own life before your life has meaning.
Figure out how that fits into the big picture.
Interesting. That is very interesting. So, because it's kind of existential if you just kind of go after, yeah, that's very interesting. Yeah, so maybe it's not binary, right? Maybe it's both, right? Uh-huh. That's very interesting answers. Yeah. Do you think life has meaning, or do each of us have to determine the meaning of our own lives? Yes, is the answer. I think had you asked that question differently, if you said life has value, and do we have to determine the meaning of it, then yeah, because not to turn life into my grandmother's rocking chair, but let's do that, shall we? Let's try to make this as superficial as possible, want it, guys? So, my great-grandmother, we called her Moms, M-O-M-S. She's my great-grandfather on my father's side. When I was a little kid, she died probably when I was 6 years old or so, 5 or 6 years old. But I used to go to my Aunt Adeline and Uncle Dave's house, who was my grandfather's sister was Aunt Adeline, and Moms lived at their house. And Moms had this little rocking chair. It was beautiful, embroidered rocking chair, little sides on it, little. And Moms was tiny, really frail lady. And she used to tell me stories about rocking my dad when he was a little baby in that rocking chair. So my great-grandmother, Mom's, died, and then that rocker ended up at my grandmother and grandfather's house, and my grandfather died, my grandmother died, and that rocker somehow ended up in a storage unit of a cousin of mine. And I always wanted, I told my grandmother before she died I wanted that chair, but a lot of things happened, no big deal, nobody did anything intentional. So one day my stepdad and my mom called my cousin and say, Mike wants that rocker, can he have it? And so I got it. And even talking about it right now gives me chills. I have that rocker in my house. That rocker is well over 100 years old. It's probably 100 and, gosh, it's got it. Well, my dad was 72 when he died, he'd be 82. It rocked him to bed. Yeah, right, it's got to be well over 100, you'd think, right? So that rocker has enormous meaning to me. I'm not sure how much value it is. I've never had it appraised. It's never been reupholstered. It is the original rocker that it was. Maybe it was bought at the local Quick Stop drugstore. I don't know. I mean, maybe it'll fall apart. But I can tell you this, in a fire, it's the first thing I'd grab going out of my house, right? And so it has both meaning and value. Perhaps life's that way too, right? Perhaps life has value and meaning. And in your case, right, you are working to identify what that sort of intrinsic meaning is, very personal for you as well. And then for you, that backs into how much meaning life has. So it's kind of like saying a life without meaning probably does not give life much meaning. Does that make sense? Like if I don't define my own meaning for my own life, is it harder or easier for me to see life in general as having meaning?
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I would say the answer is yes, they both have meaning, but I think you've got to make it, and this is what I share with my clients, this is what I used to share with clients years ago when I was in a clinical practice. Try not to make it too universal. Try not to make it too enormous. Try not to make it too cosmic. It has to do, at least in my life, it has to do with the impact I have and the relationships I have right now, today, in this particular moment, in this particular period of time. Because I can tell you, given the way 2020 went, I'm not sure I would have defined it the same. I'm not sure my personal meaning or the meaning of life would have looked the same had I seen it differently. So I try not to make it too existential, even though in grad school I wrote a very lengthy paper on existentialism, which only made me question my existence. I got away from that very fast. I just think you have to be careful about not making it too huge, too overarching, too cosmic. Just make the impact you can where you are and what is the meaning you have in your life as it relates to the world you live in and the people you love, care about, and impact. I hope that was helpful. This is Money's with Mike. If you have a question, send it to mikestaver.com/Money's with Mike. We're going to work it in. Take care.